Couch Co-op is full of douchebags. Couch Co-op. Couch Co-op. Couch Co-op.
Hello, Couch Co-opers, Couch Potatoes, and Couch Codependents. This is the Couch Co-op Show, and I'm Ian. And I got Jared, and somewhere in his house is Nick. He's traveling
Nick is
around.
gone.
He disappeared.
Oh my goodness.
He's here. He's in a new location by his beer fridge. There he is.
Oh yeah, I had to grab a beer too. I just
Sorry,
thought,
Were you
I was around the corner.
grabbing a glass?
yeah.
I was.
He was grabbing a glass. Yeah. So, no Dave tonight. Maybe we'll have a drop in with Aaron. We don't know. Maybe not. Didn't hear from him, but
Usually don't.
usually
He
don't.
posted earlier.
Did he? Oh, he did talk
Yeah,
about. Yeah. He shitting on Hopworks. Yeah. So how's everybody doing this evening?
Doing good. Yeah, it's been a good day.
Fine. Sore for some reason. I don't know why.
Still sore.
No, this is new soreness.
Oh, new soreness. All right. Yeah.
It's great being mid 40s.
Yeah. Right.
How about you, Ian?
It's my favorite. Today it was great, man. I mean, it's been. I feel like the last few weeks have been just busy weekends and busy weeks, and I just said nothing this weekend. Not going to do anything, and so just video games and movies and podcasting and beer. Pretty chill. But yeah, welcome everybody to listen. We're the Couch Co-op Podcast. We're on all the major platforms. Most people actually watch us on YouTube these days, which I find entertaining. But yeah, thanks everyone for coming to join us. Let's get to it. What happened, Jared, on this day in gaming history?
Well, yesterday was the official launch of the GameCube in Japan in 2001.
2001, A Space
Holy
Odyssey.
cow!
Nice.
Yeah, 23-year-old GameCube. I had one. Did anybody else have a GameCube? I know Ian did.
I did not.
No, I loved my GameCube.
No, but
And,
my Wii actually has support for GameCube stuff.
This
Yeah,
is true.
that's true. Yeah, I don't own any GameCube games that will go into my Wii, but I've looked for the good ones, but they're pretty hard to find now.
I do have a GameCube game.
Oh, the Twin Snakes.
Very
Okay.
exciting. That's
Nice.
my one GameCube game.
Nice. Also, yesterday, September 14th, Fable came out on the Xbox in 2004. The original Fable, which I've never played the original Fable, but I loved Fable 2 and 3, and I'm pretty excited to see what the next Fable is going to be. They've shown it a couple of times, and we'll get it eventually. But Fable's 20 years old now.
Yeah, everyone shits on it because of it's the fugly lady character.
Oh, yeah, that's funny. Let's see. And the year after the GameCube came out is when Animal Crossing launched for GameCube. I think that's its original game in 2002.
Oh boy.
So Animal Crossing's 22 years old.
So I actually have that copy. That's one of the GameCube
Okay.
games that I think I basically adopted a lot of my brothers and old gear. So
I lied. I have I have another GameCube game.
Oh,
is it Animal Crossing?
No.
Dangerous Hunts too. Cabela's.
Tell us.
That's funny. Yeah, I think Animal Crossing actually originated on a different console. Just it didn't really come to America. So that's not its original launch, but at least in the Americas it was.
Like N64 or something?
I think something like that. It had some weird history that I saw once upon a time. I didn't dig into it this time. And the final thing I want to bring up It's very, very important day in gaming today when the PlayStation Move controllers launched 10 years ago, well, 14 years ago in 2010.
Wow.
No.
Yeah, it's hard to believe it's been that long.
PlayStation Move.
I still have 2 controllers.
As do I. Yeah, because then they recycled them for the VR.
Yeah. So that's funny. But
That's-
that's it in this week.
That's
in
actually funny
gaming.
because it's one of those best memories of like the retro gaming expo. Because like we had just gotten VR. Jared had his. I needed a set, and Dave found a set for me at the retro expo for like $10.
Yeah.
And then
pretty
right
cheap.
after that, they skyrocketed.
Yeah. You got super lucky. It's crazy.
But I use them. I very never ever really have used them. So
I just charged mine yesterday, just in case there's the chance where I plug in PSVR 1 and play something like that.
there is this Move controller game for PS3 that I want to play, Sorcery. I started playing it. It's actually really cool. I just never finished it. It is a game I I look at and say, I'm going to someday beat this game.
They had a really big like E3 demonstration of it or something, a huge trailer. I remember it looking really cool.
I played through the first level. I really liked it, but I don't know. It's one of those things. I don't know. Cool. That's this day in gaming history. Thank you, Jared. We'll move on to our next segment. Nick DeWin. What do you have a beer battle for us this evening? Oh, look at this. Look at these two juggernauts. 2 3-ways.
Oh, you can't even see it. Yeah,
You
wow.
can kind of see it. You can see it.
Yeah.
What are the differences between these 2 3-ways?
West Coast hazy. So
Oh, okay.
I think hazy is hazy and East Coast IPA. Is this an East Coast West Coast battle like hip hop from the 90s?
I don't think so.
Yes? No?
Mhm.
I don't even think there is an
Uh,
East Coast IPA, is there? I don't think that's a thing, is there?
I thought
I
I've
would
always
assume
heard.
there is.
I don't know if there is.
Um,
Which one is the
yeah.
one that's more readily available?
I don't know if either one of them are readily available anymore now.
Well, yes, but I feel like I don't know.
Like, I saw this one come out first, or I saw this one was available first at the store that I normally buy beer from, and then this one came out like maybe a couple weeks after. And they actually, let's see here. Yeah, this can. Just based on the production date on these particular cans, this one was canned on 6/19 of this year, and then this one was 7/2 of this year. So yeah, about 2-week difference.
Couple of Fort George beers. Which one are you gonna kick off with?
Okay. Decisions. I think I'm going to start with the hazy.
Cool.
And yes, and the 3-ways are usually a collaboration beer, and unfortunately, Ghost Town and shit, I'm spilling that close to me. I don't like this setup.
Ghost Town and who?
I was trying to read the other one. It's like their logo, which it looks like they're on both of them. We got Ghost Town and
Are these all Oregon breweries?
I'm not sure about Ghost Town. I think I probably should have done some homework before.
Oh, you guys.
I know.
Letting me down. Well, he's doing the hazy first. We'll let him research and drink away. And oh no, there's no Dave. I didn't play a demo to fill this hole. Oh, he's got it.
You did.
Did I?
I don't know. Did you?
No.
No, you've only been playing Star Wars.
I've only been playing Star Wars. I thought about there was actually a demo I was considering getting, and then I'm just gonna play Star Wars. No, I'm gonna put the blinders on and just focus on that video game. So I've been really good at that. But I thought we haven't done a list in a long time. I thought we'd do a list. Simple, little dialogue-y, chitty chat. Since the PlayStation Pro came out and everyone's like just ripping on it. I thought we'd do our top 3 favorite gaming consoles. I know we've done this in the past, but I've like kind of been rethinking my favorite consoles. And I just thought, we'd just kind of do some light dialogue and then move on after that to some... I know someone beat a video game, so we could talk about that some more. But, yeah. Very simple, super easy. Chit-chat. Who wants to go first?
I'll just go first, like usual, I guess.
Like usual, like always. All right,
So-
Jared, what's your number 3?
So I really had to think of this because, I wanted to have a handheld on this list.
Sure.
And the one I've gotten the most use out of and played the most games on ever is the Nintendo Switch as
There-
my number 3.
There it is.
It is. I've played mostly indie games on my Switch. I play a lot of like Metroidvanias and stuff like that. A bunch of retro stuff. I don't buy a ton of Nintendo games, but that's what most people buy on Nintendo consoles. But like I bought Super Mario Wonder, played an hour of it when it came out, and that's all I've done. But like when it comes down to like sitting down on the couch and just jamming down on a game like Hades or something like that, it feels great. You have to modify the console a little bit for the controllers to feel comfortable. I prefer it docked because I can sync a PlayStation controller to it, so it's really comfortable to play.
Right.
I didn't afford the $80 Nintendo Pro controller, it's just a controller I already have, and it feels awesome. So yeah, the Nintendo Switch is my number 3.
You also played Bayonetta 3 recently.
I did play Bayonetta 3 on it. Yeah.
So, some little AAA action going on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Cool. All right, Nick. Did you give this list much thought?
I did. I was kind of thinking about it all day, but it was just I didn't know where. I kind of knew which 3 consoles I wanted to stick with. It's just kind of more like the order. I mean, I don't have any handhelds just because they just never quite grabbed me. I mean, they just always
You mean you never quite grabbed them?
both.
Anyway.
I mean, I had a Game Boy Advance, and stuff like that. I have a Switch, and I mean, they were all fine. It's just, it never felt like enough of a replacement for an actual console. But I think I'm gonna just stick with the NES for number 3, just because of, I mean, a lot of it is more just nostalgia factor and the fact that I spent a lot of time growing up playing video. I mean, that was pretty much the console that brought me to the dance. Not to mention, it was just kind of a fun experience. Just, like, I mean, I probably only played it for 4 years, but those 4 years just kind of seemed like so much more versus, what we do now. And plus it was also a time of growing up, and so there was a lot of times where I'd get in trouble and not be able to play it, which kind of made wanting to play it even that much more intense. But I mean, I just think of gaming memories and the fondness I had over it, and roll with that for my number 3.
All right.
Nice. Yeah, good call. Love the NES.
It's funny because like that's some of the stuff I've been thinking about. Like the number 3 pick is a little difficult for me, and I think like a lot of the times, like the Nintendo, I do remember a lot of Nintendo memories. I've never picked a Nintendo console. Usually in my number 3, it's usually like the Dreamcast. And while I love the Dreamcast, and I've played the Dreamcast kind of, I've never beaten any of the games I have for the Dreamcast. So like I've never really sat down and played it. And so this is kind of what made me start like changing my thought process behind this, my favorite consoles of all time. Like I like it because the Dreamcast is a quirky system, and Dave got it for me, and there's a memory there. But as far as the actual system, I don't think it's really my favorite system all the time. And so, like, I'm actually with Nick. If I actually look back, and even though that wasn't my biggest, where I see myself where I became a born-again video game player and played a lot of video games, I do have a lot of memories of the Nintendo. I beat a lot of games on Nintendo. And, you know,
I remember a lot of punishments not being able to play the Nintendo.
there's just like there's a lot of memory and
I mean-
and callback and you know, I don't know. I think I have more invested in the Nintendo, even though I like to shit on them a lot. I get it, but I'm with you there. I think the Nintendo Entertainment Center system, the NEC.
Yeah,
you guys
the
ever have an NEC?
I mean, that is a company.
That is a company. I know
Mhm.
that. But yeah, I think this was kind of interesting too. It was close between that and the Genesis, really. But I played a lot more games on the Nintendo, so and renting video games. That was peak renting video games, and
yeah.
it's just
I
a lot
didn't even
of
think about that, but
it's just, yeah, I think there's a lot of stuff that I was just kind of this time around thinking more fondly on than just being like, oh yeah, Power Stone, or I ripped off a bunch of games that I got for free on the Dreamcast, and it's cool and square, but yeah, I think really breaking it down, I think that system means a lot more to me than the Dreamcast. So I'm going with the Nintendo like Nick. All right, surprise!
and not to mention, it's just like it was also kind of like I mean, I'm sure there were other video game consoles that came out earlier in that decade, but it also just seemed like it was also kind of like a parent's first experience with that, because I mean they didn't have the video game background, so it was kind of like with these I'm just recalling my own punishments, and I was kind of thinking about it today. It's like they didn't know what to expect. I mean, it's like people our age now are parents, and they probably have a different perspective on like their kids playing video games. I mean, it's also a lot more accepted, and so it's I don't know. I just views were different back then too. So I mean, there was just kind of a lot of thought. Well, not too much thought, because I was also doing a bunch of other bullshit today. But but no, it was just kind of just I took a few moments and was just kind of thinking back around that about that sort of stuff, and just kind of like almost a little groundbreaking too in a way.
It's funny because last week when when Jerry was talking about Astrobot and then his children wanting to play the game, and that just made me think of like when we first bought the Nintendo and we were playing Super Mario Brothers, and like you'd have to take turns, Luigi and Mario, and like I could just imagine how Jared's kids are trying to deal with like sharing the video game, like how ruthless that I was with me and my brother were to each other, trying to share, like just like quietly whispering, "You're gonna die. You're gonna die."
Well, and I have to say, just to pause on that real quick, it's really obnoxious because each of the girls have their own login.
Oh, so they have to log out?
They have to log out and then log in and then start the game, and they keep having to do that back and forth.
Awesome. That adds a whole nother level to the headache, and like you guys got to share. And yeah. Anyway.
Yeah, it does.
Hey, Aaron.
Hello, Aaron.
Hey.
We're doing our top 3 video game consoles and handhelds. We're starting with number 3. Would you like to go next?
I think I would love to do number 3 next.
You made it just in time.
Yeah,
I did.
welcome to the party.
Hello, everybody. No, my number 3. Oh, goodness. I actually kind of had a bit of a rattle off my head for this one, but I think the fight is, well, I'm going to say the Game Gear from Sega.
Oh,
And
nice.
That one, that's my first handheld I ever got, and I loved it, but didn't have a lot of games for it, and not to mention it was a battery killer. So
Oh, yeah.
6 battery behemoth, and then they came out with the little adapter thing, but you're tethered.
Right.
Yeah,
George.
of course.
Like literally, you were like I personally think that console was made mind for adults because kids run around. We have fun. Here, play this. Oh, you're gonna sit here with this wall plug in the corner. Yeah. Can I go further? No.
Huh. Funny.
What do you remember playing on it? Or your favorite game on it?
Actually, you have my favorite game in my system in the
Oh.
Ian's Memorial Museum, Battletoads.
Oh, Battletoads.
Oh, and then
Oh, yeah.
X-Men as well. X-Men as well. That's another great one. I love that game too.
Awesome.
I think that's the farthest that's the game I got the farthest on any of the console for that thing. So
Cool.
gotta be that one.
Cool.
That's great.
Awesome.
Yeah.
All right, Jared,
I
number
don't,
two.
I don't,
Oh,
I
go
don't
ahead.
remember ever playing. Yeah, you. All right.
Oh no, you
number.
can. I mean, if you ever
No,
want to
no,
play
that's
it,
fine.
I got one right here.
Yeah, maybe someday. Okay.
Yeah, and you
Uh,
too can throw it through a
You know, one
window
of these
through your wall,
days, what we
crack
should
it.
do is we should all get together and just hook up all this shit.
Well, it'd be
Oh,
interesting
we could all
because
just go to my house
batteries.
because I've got a lot of it.
Battery. Oh, sorry, Nick.
Oh no, I've got a lot of the old consoles just sitting upstairs, just waiting to be used, and I have a CRT TV that would probably take all of us. Well, no, it's not that heavy, but
Yeah.
Oh, don't be so sure.
We're old and
But-
frail.
But like battery
Yeah, that's true.
technology has gotten better.
Mm-hmm.
Like some batteries last way longer than they ever did back when those consoles came out. So I wonder like how much of a difference it would make in actual life of a charge for a single set of batteries. That'd be interesting to test out with one of your memories of the system.
Yeah, no,
I think that'd be pretty
good
Not only
idea.
that, but you could get like the advancement in rechargeable batteries, like the in loops or something. It might, now might last.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Oh yeah, no, they've gotten a lot farther along with battery tech and
Well, there's
All that
batteries
stuff,
you can
too.
charge with USB-C now. I mean, that's awesome. I would love a set of those.
that would be nice. That would be very
But-
nice.
But yeah, I'll move on to number two. I mean, I almost didn't want to select this because you can play like all this shit on the Switch if you subscribe to their plan, whatever. But the Super Nintendo is my number two. Like even when I subscribed on the Switch to the online service, I went directly to the Super Nintendo catalog and just downloaded a bunch of shit and played the hell out of it. Mario
I thought it was
World.
mobile consoles.
Legend of
I thought we were
Zelda.
doing- Hold on.
It's both.
Oh, it's any console. Okay. now
Yeah,
we
yeah,
get a
pretty
bigger
much all the
category.
things. Depending on what
Okay.
tier you have in the plan, then you can get Game Boy and stuff like that. But yeah, the Super Nintendo is probably the console I spent the most time with overall,
Oh,
especially as a
yes.
kid. Like I played a ton of the NES, but really when the Super NES came out, I was replaying like Final Fantasy 3 and 4. Oh no, I mean 2 and 3. Over and over and over. Like I kept on beating those games. Those are long games, as well as all the platform like side scrollers.
Oh God.
I mean, Legend of Zelda I beat so many times. I had Super Mario World, all the save files multiple times, maxed out at 86 levels, beat or found and whatever. I played the hell out of that system and have just such golden memories of it. I even recently replayed Secret of Mana. It's funny
So,
how many of those games still are awesome.
You know what's funny? Actually, you mentioned the Super Mario World game. I actually bought that game from Game Trader, the used, and they did not clean out any of it because I saw 3 separate files on it. It was a 6%, 6%, and there's a 12%, and then someone got all the way to 96% complete. I'm like, how in the hell did you get that far in that game? I mean, that game is not hard, not easy, but
It's not easy, but I 100%ed all 3 save files multiple times. I kept on deleting them and redoing it. I was
Wild.
going nuts on that.
Wild.
Yeah, and
That's
Super
fun, actually,
Bomberman.
fun
I mean,
as well.
there was all the party games, the multi-tap that you could get for it, and a lot of party games you could do. Mario Kart came out on there. I mean, I played the hell out of that with my friends, and just tons and good memories.
Yeah.
The NES, that could have been my number, 3. I mean, I love the NES, but the Super NES aged much better.
it
In my
really
opinion.
did.
It's
I agree.
something I still enjoy playing.
I can agree with that.
Cool.
All right, Nick,
Nick.
what's your number 2?
Maybe just quickly,
So
like
we
what beer are we on? Really, are we still?
Oh,
still
yeah.
on the first one?
We're still on the first one.
How is it? Is
Sorry,
it
I'm
delicious?
Which one is it?
It is. I mean, I don't generally seek out hazy IPAs because
Excuse me.
just,
Mm,
I mean, it is interesting to note that
yum.
the first
I need that.
Fort George beer that I ever had was the Vortex IPA, which
That's my favorite Fort George out of all of them. Don't get me wrong, I like Three-Way, I like that stuff, but that one's just a classic yum.
but it was like my second time having it is where I noticed that A, how cloudy it was, and B,
Mhm.
that there was sediment underneath it, and I'd never experienced that with an IPA, so it just kind of blew me away. But so I think, being with the kind of the hazy thing, this is kind of right up their alley. Not necessarily sure if it's up mine though so much.
Fair.
Well,
Yeah,
but
this,
then
But I do like
Fort-
this.
For this Fort
Um,
George City of Dreams is like top notch beer. I love this stuff.
That's
And
fair.
I did find the name of the other brewer, and it's just as confusing seeing it in regular font versus
Oh no.
Oh boy.
Brujos. It's Brujos.
Oh, Brujos. Brujos.
Brujos. Okay, thank you, because I'm
Brujos.
an idiot.
Yeah, so
I couldn't figure it out first time.
Aaron, he's doing the 2-3 ways. He's battling the 2-3
Oh.
ways this week.
Oh, man, that's
Oh yeah.
tough
so we-
win. Ooh, tough win.
So he's doing the hazy right now, and then later he'll do the other one. But Nick, what's your number 2 console?
And by the way, Brujos is from Portland, so
okay.
that's
There you go.
so
Okay.
I did get to Google that, and Ghost Town Brewing is
Washington, I
from,
think.
Oakland, California.
Oh,
Close.
Cali. Okay.
Oh wow,
Not even. Not
Um,
even for me.
crazy.
Alrighty.
Anyway, so we were talking about the Super Nintendo, so we can just keep on talking about it.
Oh, he's just going.
Because that is my number 2.
Here we go.
Again,
Oh,
I'm
man.
gonna go. I'm going down the road of, I guess, memories and stuff because the Super Nintendo, like I did not get a Super Nintendo until, I mean, this is not a complaint by any means. Or maybe
Yeah.
it is. Because God damn it, I didn't get it until like the end of 1994. But even as a kid, it was like I had a neighbor that got his Super Nintendo like almost right away.
The old neighbor wars. I remember
Well,
those in
except
my own neighborhood.
here's the thing: it's like it wasn't a kid; it was like a guy like close to my dad's age, and I ended up selling my SUV to him like in 2010, which is all kinds
Alright.
of funny. But yeah, so he had one, so he like let us come over and play it, or he let me take it over and hook it up in my dad's house and play it. So it was kind of fun in that sense, and then I also went to a friend's house, and going back to the renting thing we were talking about, NES, there was also that, renting it from video rental stores and whatever games. I fondly remember playing Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles in Time.
Boom.
Oh my god, my favorite.
Super Nintendo NES. Yeah, Super Nintendo rental unit back in like summer of 92 or whatever. And yeah, it was just it was almost like a console that and I even had a Genesis at the time. Which, I played a lot of that too, but it was just as much as I wanted to back the Genesis, it was like just the Super Nintendo just felt so much more. So like even throughout the years, just finding friends and neighbors that had a Super Nintendo and going to their house and playing it, it kind of felt like this thing that was also just kind of like out of reach until all of a sudden it wasn't, and even then it was just I don't know. I had a lot of fun, like even playing Legend of Zelda.
Yes.
Like
over
years
and
later.
over and over and over.
Absolutely,
wait,
and
never
that's
mind.
why it's
Never mind.
and it was like I know Ian's checking out on this, but
This is my
no,
only
it's
Super
just-
Nintendo game.
What is it?
Okay.
Ken Griffey Jr. baseball.
I remember that game. That's a fun one.
Sports.
I had a friend who played that next door to us. He wanted me to play with him. He didn't have a lot of friends. I'm like, okay, I'll play it. And that game was fun. I loved it.
but it was just that was a console that I had on a pedestal for so long that I wanted so bad that but it just kind of sucked that by the time we got it, it was just kind of I was already kind of I guess starting. I mean, I shouldn't say that because I still played the hell out of it when we got it. Because I mean, there were still games that I was getting that, and even later on when I didn't when it was still stayed at my parents' house and I kind of moved on, but I've found the magic of emulation and ROMs. That I sitting here, you know, playing it on my computer, like just these old games that I used to have, and just kind of like reliving it through kind of a different delivery method, if you will. I mean, those are some games that I think even today I could go back and play and still just have as much fun with, just because it's kind of like at that I mean, it's not like too. I mean, I don't always think that there's a game that's too old to play. I mean, because I don't want to say that graphics are a huge thing for me. Sometimes they are, sometimes they are not. Just depends on the game. But I mean, I think a lot of those games still have a lot of replayability.
For sure.
No, they do.
Just the only thing that kind of sucks, at least for me, maybe some other people who also have horrible response times, are the fact that trying to play it on something wireless these days is going to fuck you over, versus back then the controllers were, directly connected
Hardwire.
It's yeah. And, responses were instantaneous, and I don't know. I've played some older games on like newer stuff, and I've run into a lot of trouble with stuff like that, where there's just like that so split second lag between reaction and action.
100%.
Anyway,
it exists.
I mean, I'm going
exists.
into the weeds on other things, but
It exists.
anyway, it's just a lot of it is just Super Nintendo was on a pedestal for me, and it was years of, I don't know, just kind of having to rough it, if you will.
But in this case, the second place pedestal.
Yes.
Well,
we
though,
got the silver medal.
I have to say the thing I miss about that generation of console or cartridges is put thing in console, push button, on. There it is.
Yes, that was the other thing. I mean, yes, I love that
Everybody
so
had
much
their
more.
own thing.
Now you have to boot into the operating system. You might need to put the disc in for the game. Yes, Ian's blowing his cartridge. He's blowing his cartridge out.
I mean,
over
Yeah,
and over and over.
in a way, though,
people use
it's
pressurized air, some sets of incantation, some smash with a hammer. They have their way of getting it going. It's the era. You're only
maybe it was just me, but that only seemed to be an issue with NES games because of the whole pushing it in and then pushing it down. Like the top-loading cartridge
Super
systems,
Nintendo,
I rarely ever had an issue with games not reading. Just
so it's funny.
Atari never had issues with that shit.
What I did for the NES is it's funny because the spring was weak or something like that. So I actually took, on the Super Nintendo cartridges that came with the little plastic tray that you slid on the bottom, I'd wedge that in between the cartridge and the top of the NES tray, and it would work perfect every time.
That's funny.
Just to kind of circle back to the NES, so did anybody ever get like one of those top-loading NES systems at all?
No.
My brother had one of the knockoff ones, but we never bought like one of the
not the actual
the final
official
Nintendo.
thing.
No, that kind of looked like a Super Nintendo, but not like it's.
I was just kind of curious if they had issues like that too, or
no.
not.
I think that
Or
the
if it
top
was
loading
just-
was like the whole point, like getting rid of that mechanism, because it was also part of that whole mechanism thing that was like creating a disconnect, and it was just another mechanical thing that got in the way of just
Right.
popping it in. All right. Well, my number two, just right back with
Oh,
you
you're gonna-
guis. Super. No, just
Okay.
kidding. Just fucking kidding.
okay.
You
I
gotta
knew
be.
that was
You gotta
coming.
be fucking kidding me.
I knew that was coming. He hit the glaze the second Nick started.
No,
talking
you missed
about
it, Aaron. I did pick Nintendo Entertainment. Why do I want to say center?
Hold on, hold on.
It just makes more.
Have
I
a
mean,
heart attack
you're
here,
used
guys.
to
God.
used to the old stereo
good.
system
I
being
guess.
an entertainment center.
God.
I guess. Yeah. No. So
Oh,
Aaron,
the
you missed it, but I
tower.
did pick Nintendo. The NES is my number 3.
Surprise!
So my
Hold
number
on, hold on.
2.
Oh, Aaron just had a heart attack.
right.
you giving Nintendo some love?
palpitation. Hold on.
What?
He's having some palpitations.
He's like,
Ah.
all right. Maybe if you saw that live, you would have had the heart attack. Now that we broke it to you easily, you're good. But my number 2 is also probably a little bit of a surprise. I think for the longest time I had PS2 at number 1. I'm dethroning it and I'm putting it at number 2. But I love the PS2. PlayStation 2 is arguably it's what got me back into video games. It's where I found my love of video games. It has some of my favorite video games.
It
does.
It's on the platinum trophy, like after number 1. It's like it's on its own pedestal.
It is on its own, but it's like it's my, it is one of my most favorite consoles. It has my favorite game of all time, Metal Gear Solid 2. Has one of my favorite racing games, Gran Turismo, of all time. I mean, it has so many games that I love, and it's very close to me. It has a very special spot, but I don't really play it and care about it as much as I used to. I don't collect for it anymore because it's so expensive. Like, those games have gotten pretty expensive. It's kind of wild. Not that those are necessarily things that need to really matter in its, I guess. I don't really ever turn it on. It's not a console
Yeah.
I turn on anymore. Same with the Nintendo. It's just like very rarely where I turn it on and I'm like, so it's kind of,
Yeah, at least the PS2 aged pretty well. Like you can plug it into your TV and it still looks pretty okay.
it looks great on this little TV. Like if I sit here and
Yeah.
play it, but there's no ever reason where I want to plug it in here and play it. Like unless
Yeah,
I'm just
totally.
gonna check it out for some reason or some little game just to see a moment of something. It's not something that I'm still really interested in playing. It's 100% nostalgia. And that's fine. That's a cool thing, and I love it. And it's my number 2, and it has a lot of memories. Like we were talking about the Nintendo, and had a lot of. When I was really trying to think about that, it's like it has a lot of nostalgic memories that I hold really close to my heart. But it's just not really a system that I play much anymore. So I knocked it down a peg. So
Yeah,
that's my
that's
number
awesome.
2,
Yeah.
PS2.
That's awesome.
All right, Jared.
Love the PS2.
Number 1.
Oh,
So
Oh no, wait,
Hi.
sorry, Aaron. I forgot.
No.
So we have a new order,
Okay.
kind of. But that's
yeah,
right.
yeah, it's all good.
Sorry, Aaron. I totally
all
fucking.
good.
What's your number
Okay.
2?
My number 2 is actually gonna be in the PS realm, but it's gonna be a generation ahead of Ian's is PS3 because that one I kind of base this off of buying it myself. Like that's the first console I bought myself. Like
Yeah, you
my
were a
own
big
money.
boy.
Yes, because I mean, don't get me wrong. I love when my parents got me consoles and stuff, but
hmm
buying your own just hits different, obviously. But it's like this is my console, nobody else's. F off to everybody else's. This is mine, and I've had so many fun hours of that game, especially all the multiplayer games they've all played together with
we
you
gotta
guys.
play some
and
Borderlands, baby.
Borderlands, Final
Mhm.
Fantasy 14.
Yeah.
Destiny.
Oh, yeah.
The original Destiny beta.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, Destiny beta.
Destiny beta,
That's right.
Mhm.
None of us bought it on the PS3, but
Nope.
we all played the.
Nope.
Most of us played the beta.
Nope. Because, Final Fantasy 14 was one of them, the big one that we all played together. Heck,
Yeah,
even some of
yeah.
the other games I played by myself, like
Fucking Warhawk. I don't know.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Warhawk, man, it's so fun. Yeah,
of course
we had
it's-
a ton of memories with that. Yeah,
yeah, and then of course it was nice. It was just a fun console to play. Not to mention you could do all sorts of shit with it too. Like, I mean, not all sorts of shit, but you just have a lot of fun with that
You
console. I
good?
think
Jared
that's-
installed Linux on his.
Yeah, I did. I could have filed for that lawsuit too because
Right.
they took that ability away.
Right.
Of course they did.
I don't remember where that went.
You
But
had folding. You had folding at home where you could
Yeah.
just leave it on and it would do all the
that's right.
number crunching. You had
PlayStation Home. Yeah.
There's-
Bring that shit back.
There's a lot of shit that console did anyway.
That
Like
was
first-
cool. I would love to have a social space just to hang out in again.
Right? If they brought that back, yeah.
Like it could be like, here's all these games you've gotten free through PS Plus. You can all hang out in the area and join together. You know, they could really collaborate with their own system, and for some reason they just won't.
Wouldn't it be here's a crazy thing. Wouldn't it be wild if you did have PlayStation Home and you went to your friend's house, like they had in PlayStation Home,
Yeah.
and then you could play a co-op game on the TV of a game in your library that they didn't have, whether
Oh,
it be
that'd be
through
cool.
cloud or something, just something
I mean, like
totally.
their share play.
Yeah, but it's like
Yeah.
you could do that. Like you could make a whole different. I don't know. I feel like there's some cool shit you could do that. I don't
Yeah.
know, with the cloud and all this new shit. That
Yeah, that
Anyway.
absolutely needs to come back.
anyway,
It is
Aaron,
a-
we're kind of stepping over your choice. Anything else you
Yeah,
want?
yeah. We all agree with you, but yeah,
Well, I
any
agree.
specifics, games
Oh,
and
no.
such, more.
Well, there was a lot of games. The fact that it was one of the games that's true, the PlayStation console that's truly reverse compatible. I mean, yeah, you could kind of do it with PS4. It's sort of PS5 if you do the download from the cloud, but it's not the same as being able to put a PS1 disc or PS2 disc in your PS3 and be able to play it.
If you had
That
that
way.
one.
Yeah, if you have
Yeah.
a launch PS3, yeah,
But it was so dope though. 'cause
It was.
like,
It was.
yeah, absolutely.
and so many hours, so many like frustration hours, so many games I waited for it to come out. Like there was
Now-
the Mass Effect trilogy, the final one, and God of War and stuff like that. So good.
Yeah.
Now I wish all the consoles would have that many USB ports.
Right.
Oh yeah.
At least on the launch
And
version.
then memory disk duo, SD card, micro SD. I mean, it had so
Oh,
many
yeah.
ports on
Mhm.
it. It had
It
all.
was pretty wild.
Fucking wild.
Yeah, it worked.
Yeah,
The
they
only
were
thing that
pretty
just sucked is
cocky
if you
at
got
point.
that
Yeah.
yellow light of death, though.
Oh, well,
Yeah.
I got that, and then
Mm-hmm.
I opened it up. I took the heat gun to it, sunk the processor back into it, and then it ran for about 3 months, and then it popped out again. And I was like, I don't want to go through that work again.
Somebody had to have sold like an aftermarket bracket to hold that thing in place. That's funny. It's that it just kept on like,
See, I didn't.
falling away.
I always heard it was just it was. I mean, because I dealt with that issue too, where
Mhm.
I mean, it actually my Fat Boy lasted me until about 2016, but
Hey.
Well, that's a long time. Mine didn't make that.
yeah.
long.
But I ended up. I mean, it kind of happened in a good time because they had the PS3 Slims out with a 500 gigabyte hard
Yeah.
drive
Oh,
that
man,
they were
yeah.
just about on the verge of being discontinued. Like, I couldn't find it anywhere except for a Walmart in Woodburn, thankfully, so it was still
Mhm.
fairly close. But yeah, so that was a lot of fun, like doing the whole transfer thing, and because I did the heat gun thing and it worked for like maybe a day and then it died
Oh,
again.
mine
so
worked
it
a
was
lot longer
just-
than that, but
no, mine didn't. It's just it basically worked again. So I had to do the whole process all over again. Just and then I was trying to just get it alive, just so I could have it survive the file transfer, everything. And then after that, it was just like, well, it's nice knowing you, but
yeah.
Oh,
I'll have to free geek with you.
oh, the fire transfer thing's actually a lot easier than that. You don't need the console for that. You just pull the hard drive out. You put it in a USB. I did it for Aaron too. I did it
Yeah,
for both
that's
of
right.
mine. You just
Mhm.
clone it to the
Yeah.
other drive, and then you slide it into
Mhm.
the other PS3.
Mm.
That was pretty
Well, I
cool.
wanted to do it the hard way. Leave me alone.
Clearly, okay. Anyway,
Yeah. Who remembers the great PlayStation Network outage? Of,
I remember that
whenever
too.
the hell that was.
I remember that.
2011?
I got
Oh,
those
yeah.
free games.
let's get all those free games.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, they got hacked
Yeah,
so
Oh,
bad.
They gave us
That's
a good
crazy.
million games though.
Yeah, that's funny.
Yeah.
good times.
It's nice.
Memories.
Yeah.
All right, Jared, what's your number one? So here we go. Number ones.
So I had to think hard about actually putting this one on top because it feels like it would be recency bias, but
Sure.
it's not really recency bias because you can play all of your awesome PS4 games on it. It's the PS5.
There.
100%. I freaking love this system.
Mhm.
I mean, I don't even know what else I have to say about this system that we haven't said over the many years of owning it now. I mean, I bought it on launch with Ian. We both have played the shit out of it. With both generations, PS4 games and PS5 games, because they're still launching PS4 games.
Yeah.
And not to mention, it's like even some games that launched like even before the PS5 launched that some companies have gone back and kind of reworked some stuff, and they've ta-da! Here's a PS5 version of it.
Yeah.
Looking
yeah.
at you, Bethesda, with your Fallout 5 or 4 for the 5.
You get most of the time you get like
Cyberpunk.
free upgrades because they just want you to keep playing the damn
Mhm.
game. But even then, like
Yeah, even
buying an
Borderlands-
upgrade, I'm just like, cool. I want to play it the really awesome version on my system. Let me, please.
Well, it's also like the kind of letting you play the way you want to play. Like, you know, Jared went in on PSVR 2. I went in on the
And
Portal.
the first one, I can
Well,
play
yeah,
the first one on
But
it.
I also went in on the Portal, so I can just lay on my couch and play PS5 on my handheld Portal, and Jared can put the bucket on his head and do whatever he does
It's
inside the
another
bucket.
screen in my house. I've watched a lot of TV shows and movies on that thing while my kids are playing stupid shit on the TV.
For sure.
You
get
know,
it.
I mean, it's so useful. Like, not just playing the games, but like everything. Like, it's nice to be able to connect. Just like I have a wireless headset. I watch movies on my TV with my headset. You know, I get full surround sound, and I'm not bugging a damn soul when they're sleeping. You know, it's just an all-in-one thing that I can use as a video game thing, and I mostly use it for video games, but when I need it for just staying quiet at nighttime, it's there for a lot of things. And I've gotten a crazy amount of use. It'd be interesting. I don't know if you can actually go into settings or anything like that to see how many hours of uptime the
Oh, yeah.
console has.
Huh, that would be interesting.
Like cell phones have that.
Right.
Cell phones have that, but it'd be interesting to see if we can dig into the stats somewhere and see how many hours you've actually had these consoles on.
I'm sure they have that stat.
Oh, I'm sure.
I'm
I
sure
bet they do.
I'm sure they track it. You would just have to like, hey, can we find that? Can we get that somehow? You know?
Yeah, that data would be so interesting. I mean, it shows you how many hours you have in a game, and like I have nothing when it comes to like some of these old, like hardcore gamers and stuff like that are playing,
God.
1,000 hours of this game,
Skyrim.
1,000 hours of this game. I mean,
Because they
just
don't have
it's
children.
crazy. I mean, I've put
I know.
so
I
much
mean, I
time
know
into
some-
this.
Some guy that put 1,000 hours into Fallout.
Oh,
Yeah,
there
at
you go.
least, at least.
Sounds familiar.
Yeah, some weirdo.
Just in one console. Then the other versions have been played.
Well, there you go, Jared. Jared, PlayStation 5.
PS5. Yeah, man. What a system.
We've come back around to Nick. Nick, have you moved on to the next beer?
Heck.
I have. We are
There.
Let
on
him do
the
it.
West Coast IPA.
There you go. And how is
Good
it?
one.
Is this more your
Right on.
style?
This is right up my alley.
Yeah. All right.
Hey.
Well, we'll let you.
I know it's gonna win.
We'll let you suckle that down as you give us your number one.
PS2.
Yeah,
Whoa.
baby.
It's
Not that
the
coming, actually.
only. It's the only. I mean, my first PS2 console only lasted just a little over 2 years. Unfortunately,
Oh.
I had a little thing with the loading tray that was
Mhm.
kind of fucking stuff up to where I don't know if it was the loading tray itself. There was something to where it would make a sound when the games would go in, make a bunch of noise, and just games wouldn't always load upon like the first time, and so it was like a lot of back and forth. And then I tried to fix it, and I fixed it to where it made even more broker.
Yeah, my disc tray started
Um,
scratching the discs.
But
That sucks.
I say all that to say that's the only console that I've ever actually had not worked for me, and because I just talked about the
PS3.
Fat Boy. Yeah, I mean
yeah.
that was kind of a different deal because the PS2, it didn't have all this stuff where it didn't have like a bunch of data. I mean,
Right.
we had those little
Right.
data
Memory cards.
but I mean,
hmm
And
but it's like the only console that I actually went and actually rebought because I did have that PS3 that did have the backwards compatibility for, and I don't think it was the emulation. I think it was like
The physical.
actual hardware.
Right.
Yeah, the physical. But even still playing like PS2 games on it,
Mm-hmm.
there were a lot of not only features, it's just it kind of left me lacking. Like some games just like wouldn't play right on it. And
You also
even when
had
I
to
wanted
get
to go back-
you had to get the memory dongle to transfer your memory card. If you didn't have that, that was an issue.
Yeah, I had that. And that worked with limited success, I guess. But I mean, it's great that they had the backwards compatibility on it, but it just didn't work to the way I wanted it to. So I eventually ended up buying a used PS2 for under $50,
Right.
just so I could go back and
Nice.
play like some of those games as they initially. I mean,
A
and that's the
fat
only
or a
thing-
slim?
The PS2.
Yeah.
A fat, I guess. It basically looked like the exact same PS2 that I had back
Right.
in the day.
I couldn't believe how thin the PS2 Slim was. That thing was teeny tiny.
It's tiny, dude.
It was like less than an inch thick.
Not only that, but so what's wild about the PS2? Here's what's wild about the PS2. So I'll tell you some things about my first PS2. I bought and it was a lemon, so it just didn't work. I kept trying to get it, and it was just so I had to return it. I got another one, and then that PS2 I still have. It still works for the most
There you
part
go.
on some game, on most games. If the game has a white label, the laser doesn't read it.
Oh, interesting.
It has to be a dark label. So certain games, it just would stop playing, and it was fucking obnoxious. So I did eventually. I have a Slim that came into my possession. I believe I got it for free though. I don't think I bought it. But if you the PS2, the fat one, didn't have the network thing built into it. It was a separate thing that you had to slide into it, and it's chonky. And this Slim
Back.
has a network, like has it all built
man.
into it. It is, it has everything. It is wild, and it is a great. Got rid of the drawer. You just pop it up and put a disc in and close it. Yeah. So my silver Slim PS2 is formidable. It's pretty awesome. But yeah, I remember
I should have
those.
got one of those, but
It's yeah.
I had the OG one. I loved it.
Obviously,
so I
but-
just
go ahead.
realized PlayStation is the only brand I've bought every console of.
I didn't.
Like
I didn't buy a
Nintendo,
PS1.
I skipped to the
I didn't
Wii
either.
U. On
can't say that.
Xbox, I skipped the first one and the Xbox One.
Hmm.
And Nintendo, I already said that, but Sega, I never owned my own Genesis. I never owned a Dreamcast. I never owned a Saturn. I don't have I ever owned I've never owned a Sega system. I never have.
What a hater! What a Sega
no,
hater!
I don't hate Sega.
No,
It's
I know,
Sega.
I know.
Yeah.
I only on the Game
But
Gear.
yeah.
I've bought every PlayStation,
is the one I've always bought. Yeah.
except the PlayStation 1. I have a PlayStation 1,
Same.
but I didn't buy one.
Oh, I didn't buy it.
Uh,
I borrowed mine.
And then everything else I've been given. So I've never bought a Xbox, but I have a 360. You know, it's I don't know. It is what it
Yeah.
is.
I loved my
And,
360.
go back to something I said probably some time ago where I said I had a PSX, I had a PS1ONE.
Yeah, that's
Oh,
right. That
yeah.
little one.
Yeah.
Yeah, gotcha.
So
Yeah,
it was like
that's
the
funny.
second. It is basically a PlayStation Slim, I guess, but it came
Yeah.
out like just before the
Well,
PS2 came out.
you know what's wild
probably
though
around the same
is
time,
that
but-
there are so many. We always talk about like the PS3 having very different iterations of even the Fat Boy.
Yeah.
Even the original PlayStation 1 had different iterations.
Lots,
of just
yeah.
the basic looking one, because I got a bunch. That's why I have mine. I got like 4 from Bryn's dad. He gave me a bunch of this old retro console stuff, and
Nice.
two of them worked, and 2 of them didn't. And they were all different, like different video connectors, different. And but the 2 that didn't work, I was able to hobble them together into a working one, and I gave it to Justin, I believe. But it is funny how in just the basics, and even like the PS2 Slim, there are versions of it that don't have the network adapter. I think this one that has the network adapter is the last version that was ever designed with everything built into it.
When
But
you
there
say
are-
network adapter, like, what do you mean? Because
A LAN port.
the Ethernet port. So like the PS2 never
Okay,
had a
'cause I
built-in. The PS2 never had an Ethernet port built into it. You had to buy it separately. It came with Final Fantasy.
That's what broke my console. I've told this story before, but I bought Twisted Metal
I
Black,
could've sworn
and
my
it came with a
PS2
modem.
Had an Ethernet port on it
Fried my system.
for
No.
cat.
Not till
whatever.
later. Not till after. Maybe it has this. It has this thing that slides into it along with the hard drive. You can also get the hard drive for it.
Yeah, that I didn't have. I know that, but
But that was only for Final
but
Fantasy.
I always heard people were like doing their own like little home hacks to like install like an actual hard drive.
You could
Um,
actually, at a certain point, you could install Netflix. You could homebrew get Netflix on it. There was anyway. There's a bunch of that kind of weird shit for.
Yeah, and anyway, I didn't even really talk about any of the games that I played for the PS2. It
What
was
did
just
you
more
play?
like- oh, it was kind of eye-opening when I got to play Grand Theft Auto 3 for the first time, because especially in a post 9/11 world, which was kind of wild at the time.
That's the first time you
but-
played. Was that when that? When did that game?
Well, it came out. It came out in 2001, right after 9/11. But,
Oh, yeah.
did it really?
because they,
Right.
Jeez.
yeah, because you can actually. There were some photos that were released like sometime later where they showed like the concept of the initial police cars that actually looked like current New York Police Department cars, but they ended up making a change because of 9/11.
Oh, and didn't they have to like delay a Spider-Man games because they had the Twin Towers in it? They had to take them out.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
I
Spider-Man
believe
2.
so.
Yeah.
No, the
that's
actual
And I
right.
think that was
movie.
for-
The actual
Yeah.
movie had to be
Yeah,
delayed.
only-
And the
that's what it was.
games, yeah.
Because the
Um,
original Spider-Man trailer had the 2 towers in it.
Okay. Dang.
So if you go
Yeah.
find that trailer, it shows Spider-Man. He does a web between the 2 towers, and then they had to like jettison that.
Yeah. Yeah,
I
jeez.
mean,
That's crazy.
what a
Wild.
time.
What an
But-
era.
Oh my
But
god.
no, it was just it. And to bring up the Dreamcast, because like I think I'm with Ian in the fact that I didn't actually beat any games on the Dreamcast, but I mean at the time the Dreamcast had like a lot of my favorite sports franchises, like the 2K series for both NBA and NFL, and a lot of those like when Sega decided to exit the console game, so to speak, those franchises were now available on the PlayStation, and it was just it was like kind of like the best of both worlds. You got to be able to play like all the PlayStation games, and then I also got to bring all my favorite sports games over there too. So I mean, it was just kind of a I don't know. It was again going
Yeah.
back the nostalgia route, and not to mention, and I guess if I did buy a PS1, I think I'm with Jared in the fact that I've purchased every single PlayStation console,
Hmm.
if that PS1 counts.
Generation.
Yeah, it does. I mean, it's
Okay.
a PS1.
I mean, I
Sure.
didn't play much of it, but I did
Nice.
buy it.
Still bought it, yeah.
I think I bought it just to play Final Fantasy IX, which I didn't play much of.
I mean, I've played all the consoles except for the Xbox One.
Yeah, I don't know if
Not,
I've ever.
not,
have I ever played
not
an
the
Xbox One?
Xbox, but the Xbox One. that
I've played
came
an
out before
Xbox
the
One.
Series S.
I played an Xbox One. Alan has one or had one, and I played Horizon or Forza. Not
I
Horizon
did
Forza.
play it because there was a Portland waterfront event where the Xbox One was being demoed with the Kinect.
Oh,
the Connect.
Jesus.
Or no, that was 360.
That was
That
360.
came out that long
That's
ago.
360,
Okay, so
yeah.
yeah, I never played the Xbox One.
I
Yeah.
played an Xbox One. I have done. But
Okay.
it was just Forza. Like Forza
Yeah.
6 or 5 or 6. Whatever one released on the
Okay.
Xbox One. I did play that. Quite a
Yeah,
bit,
that's
actually. Because, anyway.
Yeah, all right.
All right, my number one. Aaron already mentioned it. I am going with the PS3.
Yeah,
Uh,
nice. Borderlands time, baby.
There's a lot of things. Like there's a lot of things already mentioned. Like PlayStation Home, I was actually incredibly saddened when that went away.
Yes.
I remember spending the last hours in it before they shut the servers down. I used to leave my system
Very
on.
addicted.
Used to leave my system on for the folding at home stuff. I would just leave it on, and it would supposedly be doing some helping people find cures for cancer or whatever. A lot of my favorite games are Metal Gear Solid 4 is a classic. I have the Metal Gear.
Yes.
I have the Metal Gear collection.
Yeah.
So I played Metal Gear Solid 2 like another 20 times on the PS3, like with trophies. You know, it's like whatever. You know, so. Basically, the collection that you can get now on PS4, PS5 that's on the PSN is basically just that collection. I mean, really. It is HD, so like visually I'm not really it's funny. It is a system that I still boot up and I still love booting up. I love going into it and I love the way it starts. Everyone kind of gave it shit for its kind of orchestral like kind of like tuning, the tuning sound, but like it's very elegant. And I think it's still, in my opinion, I still think it's the best fucking OS they've ever created. It's super simple to read and figure out. It has a shit ton of options, way more than any other console. Like it gets really in the weeds in the system stuff.
How he did it.
If you boot up,
How about recent updates though, where it requires something? Was it two-factor identification to actually get into the system, or
They had to change things after the stores kind of closed down because people were hacking the hell out of the PS3.
So
once
the
PS4 came out.
store is still open, but you can only add money to your wallet through a PS4 or a PS5. So you can go into the store still and buy stuff, but you have to add money somewhere else because they needed to protect that to keep people from hacking it and getting to your shit. So that's why there were still updates. There's still updates every once in a while. But the cool
I remember how slow that operating system started getting as updates came.
on the Ethernet side when you're trying to load stuff in, yes.
Yeah.
On
Man.
but if you're not messing with the internet, it works. It's flawless. I think it's.
Yeah.
And if you load the 360 and you load the PS3 and you look at those two operating systems next to each other, the Xbox 360s looks like such garbage. It looks
I love the cross media bar, XMV, right?
But the text is so blurry and it's just jaggy as fuck. And the PS3 is so clean and elegant, and all the ads on the 360 is wild, and there's none of that.
The original 360 that came out, I don't believe until later you could not plug it into an HDMI port. It came out first, I think.
Oh, the 360 came
And
out first.
so the
Yeah,
first edition of the
2005
Xbox
versus-
360 didn't have an HDMI port.
But then you got the Alienware one that came out, and that one did have the HDMI because I had one of those ones.
Yeah,
I
it was
remember
like the
that.
black version, the Elite, that had the HDMI port. But PS3 had it upon launch, but it was way more expensive. It was like $600 versus what, $300 or some shit
you
for
had
the Xbox.
you had
I don't
three
remember how much that
consoles.
cost.
You had three consoles
I can't
built
remember how much I
into
paid
it.
for mine.
Yeah. Yeah, but that's a funny era where HDMI and like 1080p TVs were coming in and things like that, and it was a really cool era to be part of gaming, I think.
It's anyway, I think the console's super cool. I look when I look at my games that I have here, let's say,
That's a lot of PS3 games.
there's a lot of PS2 games, but none of them do I really want to play because I basically put. But there's a lot of PS3 games I didn't finish, and I keep telling myself, man, I really need to get to that. Oh, I really need to play that. And when I boot
want
up,
to.
I do really want to. Like, and
Yeah.
when I boot on, I actually have my PS3 connected to my television, and I do boot it up all the time. I'm always in it. I've downloaded a bunch of games that I haven't beat, so I have. Dude, you can create folders, subfolder. You can.
I remember that.
I
yeah.
love the
That's
system from a what do you call I have OCD kind of thing.
Oh.
So fighting games, action games, racing games, arcade games. So I have that all.
Eventually, you could do that on the PS4. And
Eventually
can't
you
on
could.
the PS5.
But it's not as. It's also not as cool and interesting as it's
Yeah.
clean and.
It was nice. That cross media bar was super rad. Yeah.
So I load in. I have all these games downloaded. I don't know. I still feel like it. I just wish. You're right, Jared. At a certain point, it does get kind of bogged down. I wish it had more power, but I just wish it had more power to kind of play stuff versus it needed to be better looking or just load faster and be a little faster. I don't need it to be beautiful. I think a lot of it still looks really good, and there's so many games I have on it. Like all my PS4 games, I've beaten all these. Any of these games I've beaten those. But I still go on to Amazon at night in my bed. I go to Amazon and I go PS3 sale games, and I will just thumb through and is that a game I don't have this. I should put that on my wish list. And those games are still fucking cheap. They're not fucking $100 like some of the like Urban fucking Rain or something. You know, it's like anyway.
So I have to remember that at the beginning, the Xbox 360 was tearing PlayStation in half.
Oh yeah.
You know, they were just beating the shit out of them with quality of ports. Or not even ports, but just everybody wanted to develop games for the 360 because
easier to
it
develop
was
for.
easier. You know, it had the Windows whatever, whatever.
Well, it had an AMD
Yeah,
processor
AMD,
versus
yeah.
the crazy Cell processor that was super hard to develop for.
PlayStation was crazy hard to develop for, and games usually ran worse on the PS3 until they didn't.
Until they didn't.
Then
Until they
the
found out.
PS3 way overtook the Xbox.
Well,
I don't know about way.
They didn't way overtake, but what helped
they
there is they climbed a little
the hill
bit
pretty quick,
and then
yeah.
the 360 started melting down because
and getting the red ring.
which is also crazy because its power brick is outside of its console.
And I hated that so much.
Which is weird because the PS3's has always been internal. This power brick has always been inside, and yet somehow the 360 still melted down.
Yeah, I know, it's wild. I don't
So, yeah, it was like maybe 100,000 difference in ultimately the PS3 won that generation. Yeah. Well, no, we won that generation, but that's a whole different story. That's a different.
That was an awesome generation, though. Like the Xbox.
That was a fun time to be alive. I mean, I never played in
right?
Xbox, but at least the competition.
It was 360s. Like Microsoft really brought it. So like for next. Yeah. I mean, the Wii, I think it's bad for Nintendo because it's when they decided to step back and just say, fuck it, we're not going to compete in this kind of...
We're going to be a niche.
The
Wii was a thing, yeah.
Yeah, well, it sold a lot. I mean, it sold more than all of them.
I still have one.
Yeah.
I got one, but it was free.
I had one.
But what I'm saying is...
I have one that can play GameCube's games on.
They just they decided to take a different route. And so this, consoles are... I don't know. It's Nintendo's. Is it competing or is it a different? I think it's always going to be a different thing now. It's not like the PS2, Xbox, and GameCube was the last time those three consoles. Maybe even you could put Dreamcast in there because it was kind of the beginning. That those consoles were all kind of doing the same thing, and then Nintendo decided, we're going to pivot. We're just going to do our own thing. HD? What is HD? No one cares about that.
Well, even then, it almost didn't. Yeah. I mean, I can't remember the exact technical specifications, but I mean, even at the time, it seemed like the GameCube kind of just already kind of looked like they were kind of taking a step away from. Because even then, it was compared to.
It was the
PS2
weakest.
And the Xbox, it was it was massively weak. It was just
but it was
it was.
I mean, It wasn't that weak though. I mean, it was still running a lot of those.
I mean, like how much data were on those discs though? That those GameCube.
Yeah, but didn't Nintendo actually use DVDs? Like
Mhm.
Dreamcast didn't use DVDs; they used game discs. If you don't know about
Yeah.
this, so Dreamcast uses a disc, but it's a little bit large,
right?
a little bit larger than a CD, but smaller than a DVD. So
Mhm. Yeah, they didn't have the capabilities to. Yeah, they weren't a DVD.
they decided not to put a
I mean,
DVD. They decided not to put a DVD drive in their console.
Right, and that's
Well,
where PS2
yeah,
did.
it was
and that's
proprietary.
kinda-
Right.
and
And
that was
at that time, it was their least selling console ever.
Right.
And it's like even now.
So like
Well, almost.
So a lot of what happens now when you rip games for a Dreamcast, you use a CD and then it compresses a lot of the video content. So the quality of some of the video stuff kind of gets, unless the game is small already, then it doesn't matter. But some of the bigger games, it compresses stuff. Anyway, yeah. So I don't know how. I mean, how much stronger was the Dreamcast? I don't know how strong that console was. I feel like the games look better on PS2 than they do on Dreamcast, like Soul Calibur and
probably
stuff.
because
Yeah, I don't know. That'd
PS2
be a fun
actually
spec
had a
sheet to look
DVD
at.
player, and I think didn't the Xbox wasn't that also a DVD player too?
Yes, but the Xbox also came
Like
out
they-
way later. Like, how much later did that come out?
In 2002, it wasn't that much later.
Was it 2002? Oh, I thought it was way later. It just seemed like it was.
No,
Like,
I mean,
it seemed like
that's
a
where
lifetime.
PlayStation and Xbox were kind of a step up because they kind of jumped on the whole DVD bandwagon where GameCube, they were using like some micro version of it to.
You're right. You're right.
It wasn't on the same level as.
You're right because it's like 3 inches. 3 inches.
Yeah.
Yeah. Always got to be different, that Nintendo.
Yeah. Yeah, especially with the N64 with the cartridges when everybody else is moving to discs.
And there's those
Motherfucker.
Yeah.
Those cartridges are so expensive to make. So
And there's only one console that sold less than the N64. What is that?
of a Nintendo?
Mhm.
Yeah.
GameCube?
Oh,
Or
no,
no,
Virtual
Wii
Boy.
U?
Well,
that's
actually,
Virtual Boy.
it goes N64, then GameCube, then the Wii U.
The Virtual Boy is a console of its own.
Well, yeah,
Barely.
yeah, that absolutely would be the least selling Nintendo product ever.
But it's also one of the most valuable because of how
Dumb.
little it
Right,
sold.
it
Yeah.
was.
Yeah.
All right, Aaron, what's your number one?
Mine. Oh, well, we're gonna go on the PS trains. We're gonna go to the fifth wheel of the thing, the PS5.
You're going with Jared.
Yeah,
I
baby.
have to.
Have
there
to.
we go. Yeah. Well, not only that, it has the whole shebang. Not to mention the graphic, the gameplay, all that stuff. Not to mention, it's nice to be able to actually get my little one to play it too because she wants to. She actually drags me to the living room. It's like, can we play the Bluey game? I'm like, okay, I'm gonna play Tunic.
How many times have you played the Bluey game? How many times have you beat it?
I don't even know.
My kids didn't even like that, and they love Bluey.
Mm-hmm. Well, no,
Yeah,
she,
it's definitely for really little kids.
she also wants to play Tunic as well.
I think my niece liked
Oh,
it.
jeez.
She likes
Have
Tunic.
fun with that.
Tunic's tough though, right?
It is.
She enjoyed it though. She likes watching it because they call it the Fox game. I'm like,
Mhm.
okay, play that. All right.
Yeah, great game. I
It's
love it.
basically Zelda, right?
Yeah, difficult Zelda. Well, I mean, Zelda was difficult in some situations.
But no, she loves that game. And I'm like, all right, well, I mean, if I can get another little gamer in the house,
Sure.
All
I'm
right.
just waiting for Aaron to put that game on the beat list someday.
it's gonna be a little bit because she's kind of, she's 2, so it's kind of hard to get her to stay interested.
So you just kind of let her play it. You don't really play it.
I play it. I play, but she kind of like takes the control and actually starts trying to control the little fox. I'm like, all right. She tries, but she's
cool.
2, so they can do so much. But no, I play it for the most part. I just need to get through it a little further. It's fun. It's just,
It is. Yeah, I liked it.
PlayStation 5. So we got like a Nintendo heavy first half and a PlayStation heavy back half.
Yeah.
And Xbox. eh,
I've never
Yeah.
had a good. I mean, Jared maybe
I had
and
good
Dave.
experiences
Dave
with
probably
Xbox.
Dave probably has a good memory with the
I-
Xbox, but I
I have
you
some
know,
good memory.
yeah,
But
no.
none of
I
my
pay
friends had
60.
Xboxes. So a lot of the experiences come from playing with others.
Dave had an Xbox.
Mhm.
What are we talking about?
Yeah, but he never had Xbox Live.
That's true.
I had a 360. I just didn't like playing online because the people on there are mostly assholes. So
Yeah, I mean, I
Yeah.
played like all the like big games, you know, Halo games and Gears. I even recently played a Gears game that came out on the Xbox One. But yeah, I liked my Xbox, and then eventually I just started playing more of the PlayStation games because all my friends had PlayStations, and really got into that culture and
Mhm.
bought a lot of the digital games, especially like as the PS3 came out. You know, digital games started becoming a thing on the Xbox and the PS3, which I still can play a lot of those Xbox 360 games on my Xbox Series S, which is awesome. That is definitely one step over PlayStation, and I don't have a huge library to appreciate like that. And I mean, maybe someday Xbox will step it up for me. But even my girls are like, I don't want to play on the Xbox. You know, they even
Smart.
prefer the PlayStation.
I've always felt that it was the easier one to use. It was
I
more,
hate the UI of even the Series S. I'm like, oh god.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't like
360 was tough.
I don't like using Game Pass. It's kind of obnoxious. I don't and that's like a whole nother thing, but like I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, even PS Plus and Game Pass are kind of pricing themselves out of my budget. So
Well, that's-
I'm
that's-
slowly upgrading my PC, and it's going to be a tough sell on a PS6.
Holy
I
shit.
mean, we'll see.
If we're going to talk about that for a second, Jared, have you collected all your fucking Prime games this last week or so?
I think so. That's a lot. I have
All the Indiana
hundreds-
Jones and
hundreds
shit.
and hundreds of games on
Holy
my PC that I haven't touched.
Holy shit! I mean, it's
And I
stuff-
just upgraded my motherboard and CPU and all that stuff. I'm like, okay, I can probably play most of these at
Wow.
pretty high settings.
I kind of feel like, yeah, like next time around, if Sony keeps on with this PC thing, the only game they're probably never going to release to PC is Gran Turismo, and that's like would be the only game that I would have to give up. But
Yeah, well, just having to pay, $70 a year now to play online,
yeah,
or whatever Xbox is charging now. You can't even pay for a year of Xbox. It's so expensive. They won't let you pay for
Oh,
a
yeah.
year of Xbox Live or Xbox Game Pass because it's so expensive. Like they're pricing themselves out of the next generation with subscription services that you are required to have unless you're playing a free to play game.
yeah, it's pretty crazy. And
And yeah.
the game, the game. Here's the other thing. I mean, Jared and I do play Destiny, so that's a game that does require it in many,
In some parts, not all parts.
not all parts, but a lot of the parts.
Yeah, a lot of the parts.
But the other game that the crew plays is like Rocket League, and like that's free to play. It doesn't cost.
Yeah,
you
all
don't
free
need
to play.
I gotta like start thinking like, do I really give a shit about? Do we just give up and like?
Well,
so-
that's what I told Dave. Like he was like, "Oh man, my PS Plus is about to expire." I'm like,
But
"Dude,
you don't
haven't
use
played
it."
anything on with us for a long time, and you play Rocket League. You don't have to have PS Plus for that. So just don't until they beg you to come back, and they'll
Right.
give you a discount."
right, 100%.
Yeah.
Unless you really care about the free games, but
Which how often does anybody play those?
right. I don't know. I add them, but they're not truly free. Not like they are on fucking GOG or
Yeah.
Epic. Like Epic. I mean, I have such a massive
Oh, yeah.
library now that it's like this is
Well,
wild.
I just looked at my GOG library because I linked it with Epic, and I have like 365 games just through GOG and Epic.
basically what what we were saying, our hypothesis, and then our thesis, is like consoles are cool, but really you guys should be you should get a PC.
Yeah, they're pricing themselves out of like affordable user base. I mean, PCs aren't expensive, but like I'm piecing my PC together with friends' old parts, but you can still play all modern games, just not at like
You're gonna play them in HD. You're gonna play them in HD.
140,000 frames per second.
And if that's
You
important
know.
to you, though, but see, that's the thing. That's the other thing. Like that whole PlayStation Pro thing. If that 4K 60 is important to you, then that's why you're buying that system. But if you don't really care about that, I mean, I'm playing a PlayStation 5 on an HD TV. That's how much I don't give a fuck about that shit right now.
Yeah, you still have a 1080p TV, yeah.
Right? I'm sure it looks beautiful. But I don't know. I have shitty eyes. I play my games. I play it on a Portal. You know, I don't care. I don't really care right now. If I had the money, I'm sure I would just drop it. But, you know,
Hey, the games still run great.
we're all struggling. They all run great. And that's the same thing with the PC. I don't need it to run at 4K. I just need it to look good, which it does, and I need it to run smoothly, at least at 30 to 60 frames per second.
I have a 1080p monitor and a card that can do 1080p really good.
There you go. Now, if you want to be the best of the best, then I get it. But that's where the money comes in, and that's why the PlayStation 5 Pro costs a lot. That's where that stuff starts. You know what? I mean, come on. PlayStation Pro, $700, sure. You know what?
Go for it.
A fucking 4090 RTX 4090. That's like a $2,000 card.
Just the card.
That's just the fucking card. So
Yeah.
you guys got to realize the difference of. There's so many different gamers in the world, and then when you say hardcore gamer, what are you talking about? You know.
Yeah.
So we're all different. We all have all different things that we're willing to put up with and not.
Different needs, different likes.
Right.
Yeah.
All we know is that we like games, and certain games, you know, whatever.
Hit the spot.
Yeah.
Some of those guys with high-end computers that play online, like Warzone, they turn off all the high-end shit, so it runs
Low res, so it gets better frame rate.
So high frame rate, no particle effects, so they don't see like.
Yeah.
So that
What's the
garbage doesn't
point?
get in the way. They just want to be able to kill the person. It's like, so, what does that say?
Yeah.
Why not?
Potato mode has higher visibility.
Right? So like, that's and that's a hardcore gamer.
Yeah. What a no.
Anyway.
What a big no.
So anyway,
Right.
that's the world we live in. So. Yeah, I know. Anyway, consoles
Seems
are
like they
cool.
have all sorts of
Yeah.
people in all aspects of various hobbies.
Right? Exactly. So everyone relax. It's $700.
Everybody-
If it's $700 and you don't want to pay this, then it's not for you. You know?
Exactly.
That's all it is. It's just not for you. I did buy my PS3. I did buy the expensive one. Which I regret only because like the 40 gig one was the cool Metal Gear Solid gunmetal gray or greenish one.
Yeah.
And I bought the expensive one and it wasn't special. I mean, it was special, but it wasn't special. It's like, come on. That's so shitty. Oh, well.
I know special because of the larger hard drive.
Well, yeah. Oh, the 80 gig versus the 40
Yep.
gig.
Oh, yes. I had a lot of 60 gig one. I remember that one. And then we bumped to the 80.
Those are the days. Well, we can move on from this. How about where we are in the beer, Nick, to win? We have a winner.
Oh, I've finished it. And the winner is the West Coast IPA coming at you.
Coming at
Oh.
you. There you go.
I figured.
And if I may, I know Dave's not here, but I was kind of running around, looking around because I know I played a demo on Friday night.
Oh, you did? Why
I
didn't you
did.
chime in when I was saying I didn't play a demo and Dave's not here?
Because I didn't know the name of it, and
Oh, okay.
I kind of forgotten
Did some
about it.
research.
So we
Yeah, I had
got
to do some.
Lord Beerstro's Dr. Demo Okay, what is it?
It's called Neon Blast.
Neon
It's-
Blast. Okay.
Yeah, it's does anybody here remember Arkanoid from back in the day? Or
Oh yeah.
Mm-mm.
Oh,
Yeah.
I better
So-
look into this then.
it's, I mean, not on the same level.
Hey, yeah, I love Arkanoid, but still,
I mean,
Neon Blast.
still kind of fun. The only thing is the ball kind of goes in a direction. You just kind of steer it. I mean, I might put it at a try.
Okay. All right.
I'm not gonna buy it. And I'm not gonna necessarily say die because I don't know, it was fun. I mean, the demo itself is kind of fun because you actually get to do like 10 levels of it.
Oh,
But
wow. Okay.
it
Oh, wow,
was
okay. Huh.
I mean, it was
Interesting.
kind of fun, but in a way, it was also kind of easy too. But it also is so it's like
There's no paddle.
it's no, there's no paddle, and that's why I say it's like you don't get to guide the ball; you get to steer it. If that makes any sense.
Using the
Oh,
force.
yeah.
It's gonna
But it still
go,
bounces.
but
Huh,
so you
interesting.
kind of have to deal with that. And there's also like a color coded aspect to it as well. So it's so you have like different color bricks, but there's also like a brick that you need to hit that kind of changes the color that you can destroy. If that makes any sense of how I described it. So if you had like red, green, blue bricks, there will be like kind of a separate singular brick that you'd have to hit first in order to be able to break that color.
Gotcha.
And then there's also like bricks where that have like skull and crossbones where you hit and you die. And that's the thing that was kind of annoying where like Arkanoid, you can kind of progress after you die. But if you die in this game, you have to start all over.
Oh, man.
Good times.
That's
So,
like,
oh,
yeah,
frustrating.
interesting.
Cool.
Well, speaking of that genre of game, you know how much we loved that game Shatter back in the day? With
Yeah.
the magnetic push and pull Arkanoid.
Mhm.
I don't know if you guys knew, but a couple of years ago, it actually got re-released as a remaster,
Yes.
and it's only $10.
Oh, really? Currently?
That's just its normal price. So I added it to my wish list for it to go on sale because that game is top notch in that genre. But yeah,
Isn't it on mobile? It's everywhere now too, like on mobile and shit.
Yeah,
isn't
even
it?
on Switch and stuff. Yeah, Shatter is what it's called, and that's
Dude,
the one
great
I just
soundtrack.
thought of when you were talking about that.
Great electronic soundtrack. That's one of the things
Yeah.
I remember about that game. Is like it just had cool vibe.
hmm
Yeah. If you haven't ever played Shatter, get it on Steam or that's where I have it.
Yeah, Nick, if you like that style of game, you should absolutely try Shatter. There's no demo,
yeah.
unfortunately.
I
I
mean,
was just
I
looking
actually-
like, oh yeah.
But it's badass. It's a badass game.
No, but I recently did like a thing where I did like a whole watch through on YouTube of somebody who played Arkanoid through all the levels.
Oh,
And it was just kind of fun because it was both
Arkanoid's great.
yeah, it was fun because it was kind of a trip down memory lane because I didn't realize how far I'd actually gotten in the game back when I was a kid. Like I had gotten pretty far. I never beat it, but like just watching him play through all the levels, I'm like, oh, I remember that. No, I remember dealing with all that same bullshit too. But
That's cool.
no, it's just that game was always kind of fun and just kind of playing Neon and the music from Neon Blast is like totally trying to be 80 all 80s and stuff like that and like kind of even like kind of the graphics in the game itself or I think it's trying to kind of like pull from Arkanoid if you will but just I don't know it just definitely try give it a shot but I mean I don't know if it's a game that I'll end up buying it looked like it was $5
Oh, it's cheap.
for the Switch
Okay.
so I imagine it might be probably similar same price for PlayStation or Xbox.
Did you demo it on the Switch?
No, I demoed it on the
PlayStation.
PlayStation. I can't remember if I did it on the 5 or the 4, but I don't think that makes a difference. But
Cool.
There is an Arkanoid game on PS5 or
Uh-oh.
PS4.
Oh.
It's called Arkanoid Eternal Battle, by the way.
The return.
It came out in 2022 also.
Huh. Oh.
Mm.
It has
boy.
4-player online or
Oh.
25-player online. But locally 4-player.
Oh.
That sounds awesome.
There you go. That's interesting.
Yeah, Arkanoid was the shit.
All right, that's Neon Blast.
Neon
Thanks,
Blast.
Nick, for doing Dave's segment.
Yeah,
Dave's
thank
dirty
you.
work.
That's
His
awesome.
dirty work since he wasn't here tonight. He was too tired. He
It's
tried 8 beers at Loyal Legion this
Oof.
weekend, and he tried, so maybe just a taster. I mean, last weekend.
So many fresh hops.
Last weekend we drank like a whole keg of beer each, and he still came on the show. So I'm not
Yeah.
sure what kind of busy
maybe
day
it's
he's
just-
having.
He's probably trying to clean up after he found all sorts of shit that I left behind. Wait, what?
Listen, Nick, we're not going to throw you under the bus.
Whatever, I'll do that myself.
I can't wait till we all get together again and tell stories.
Yeah, that sounds fun. Yeah.
We love you. But no, thank you, Nick, for doing the demo. And now we got get some couch co-optionals and get out of here. Jared.
Well, we got trivia after that.
Well, okay, fine. We also
Yeah,
got trivia,
come
but
on,
it's
come on.
just
yeah.
Jesus.
Can we have a
Christ.
segment where we sit here and remind? Or
Okay, hold on a
pretend
second.
to
Okay,
remind
let me
you
go back.
there.
We got
Come on.
we got couch co-optionals and of course trivia.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Jared, what do you got for the good of the order?
All right, I've only mentioned this series like 4,000 times on the podcast, but it was renewed for its final and 7th season, coming in December. The Dragon Prince, and I am crazy excited. The last season that came out just a month or two ago was amazing.
I wish
And the show
we
just
could,
keeps getting better.
I wish we could do a pull quote for our show, like if they had like a trailer and it's like they like blah 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 says this show is awesome, and then like my pull quote would be, yeah.
It's a series
Our
that's on
co-host,
Netflix.
our co-host loves it. He won't shut up about it.
Yeah,
Couch co-op.
You
Awesome.
can make a trailer.
Yeah, right. Anyway, cool. Dragon Prince, final season. You're excited, huh? It's gonna be sad though.
Oh yeah, it's an emotional ride, and like every season, there's something going on. There's like, what?
Cool. All right, Nick to win. What do you got?
So I stumbled upon a series. You may have already seen it in one of the channels, but Louder Milk. I don't know if anybody
Familiar.
had even mentioned it
No,
because I kind of
sounds
looked and
familiar.
I saw I kind of searched through Discord to see if anybody had mentioned it, and the only thing I saw was a post from Scott from last year, but I wasn't sure if anybody had like mentioned it like as a co-optional themselves.
I
but,
haven't watched it. I've watched the little preview over and over again where he gets the door for the lady and they go in the coffee
Yeah.
shop and then he
Yeah, and that's
but then
kind of
he's
what
like pissed off because she cuts in front of him. He's like, "Hey, yo, I get it. It looks
Yeah.
funny. I've just never pulled the trigger on it."
Yeah, and maybe Friday was just like in a mood because that's when I did the demo and that's when I started watching that show.
It's like I'm gonna do all the homework this
I
week.
know. I guess so. I was feeling very motivated, but yeah, it was like I jumped into that. No, actually, I think I did that the night before. Yeah. Anyway, no, it was just I was kind of like dinking around on Netflix, and it just kind of landed on that, and I saw that very opening, and it was Ron Livingston. You know, the guy. Anybody who's seen Office Space
Peter.
knows exactly who he is. Yeah, and I mean it's kind of a more amped up version of that, but I mean just
It
I don't
looks
know. It
funny
was
as
just-
fuck.
I mean, he plays a guy who would
He's a writer,
probably-
right?
yeah, and he's also like his main gig. I mean, he's a writer slash I guess a guy that leads like an AA type meeting, like a place I should probably be. But
Wah,
he's
wah.
just he's like kind of an asshole about everything, and that's what I love. But it's
All right.
I don't know, and it's
I'll give
also
it a try. I'll give it a try.
by-
I keep watching the preview and it's like, do I? I haven't pulled
But
it.
the weird thing is, it's also brought to you by Peter Farley too, like of the Farley brothers, who has
Right.
you know, come up with all those movies. So it's in a way, it's almost kind of strange, just because it, you know, if you think of all the Farley Brothers movies, you think they're kind of a little more simplistic, and this one kind of has a little bit more thought to it. So I mean, it just,
A little more
Ian,
substance.
I mean, I'm
Ian,
only-
if you have enough time to waste on watching the latest version of The Crow, I think you can probably waste your time watching this show.
Listen, Crow was homework for this week's episode, this month's episode of Milkman and Reverend. But yes, I see where you're going with that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
louder milk. Yes. Okay.
Louder milk.
Louder milk. Like one
Oh
word
yeah, and
though.
also Will Sasso's in it too. So that's
Oh,
fun too.
Will Sasso.
And he's also like a roommate who's also recovering, but also kind of falling off the wagon, but hiding it to hilarious effect,
Cool. Aaron.
as you may.
Oh. Aaron, what's
No,
your
that's
optional?
All right, so I actually decided to dive into the Disney category, Disney Plus, and I found the old X-Men series on
Yeah, X-Men. Yeah.
not 97. I was gonna dip into that after I watched the X-Men series because it's kind of nostalgic. And fuck, I didn't realize how many of the older episodes I actually watched when I was a kid until I started rewatching. I'm like, okay,
I
watch
remember
that.
this.
I remember that. But it hits different now that I'm an adult because you didn't think much about that shit when you were a kid. when you
Right.
watched
Yeah,
it.
you were just looking for the action. You weren't paying
Mhm.
attention. Yeah.
It's
What are you talking
That
about?
shit-
I was looking for Rogue's ass.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, Rogue was awesome back
Yeah,
in those-
Sugar.
that era.
yeah, that sugar.
Yeah,
No, that-
absolutely.
That show got deep, man. I didn't realize how deep that show got,
Mhm.
really. But it's such a good show
Covered some
overall.
pretty good stuff, especially in the first two
So did
seasons.
you-
I mean,
Did you watch it all?
Not yet, no. But I've watched I've watched a lot of the episodes. Like I felt like I kind of zone out because I've seen the episode that I'm on. I'm like, oh yeah, I remember that. That
Mhm.
the introduction of Juggernaut, where he's kicking the shit out of everybody until Colossus comes along. And
And you
Helps
went
out
back
with
to
that.
this because you watched all of 97?
97
I
was
didn't-
awesome.
You haven't watched it yet?
no,
What?
You haven't watched it yet?
Oh, good.
no,
No. You haven't watched it? Oh my
Yeah,
god.
we're
Aaron,
shocked.
Aaron, you need to get through this. If this is what you're doing to watch all of this and then 97, you need to get through this because
Yeah.
97 is
Okay.
Yeah,
like
it's top tier.
it's next level. You want to
Yeah.
talk about deep?
and
Okay.
And
That's
just for
like
fun,
you put
they-
that on the top shelf. Yeah, that's really, really quality stuff.
It's
Okay.
and just for fun, they even brought back some of the original voice actors from that original series
That's
too.
what I heard.
Not all of them, because some of
Yeah.
them may or may not be alive. But
But no,
You-
but you wouldn't really notice the difference, and
Yeah,
it's the show
Yeah.
is so fucking good, dude. It is.
You really don't need the refresher.
You don't.
Okay.
Yeah,
Just jump in,
yeah.
dive
You know
head
what?
first.
Yeah,
It's
you know what?
so good.
Yeah, you don't need the refresher. If you would
No.
just like to put these to bed and like just watch 97, you,
Do yourself a favor.
there's.
and
I mean, this
watch
is
it.
one of
It's
those.
So good.
This is one of those shows where I've gone back and rewatched an episode multiple times. Like it's so
Alright.
it's
It's big.
fucking good.
But-
dude.
I
Yeah,
thought
it's
you
big.
had
If you're
to for some
looking to-
reason, so
You didn't have to.
but
You
if
don't
you're
have
looking
to.
to consume
Yeah.
a bunch
No,
of X-Men
no.
content, keep
Okay.
continuing.
Oh
the
no,
path.
I'm not
Yeah,
against
it's
you
for-
watching those. If you want
Oh,
to keep
no,
watching
no.
them, but I know that X-Men, the actual series, so the original Fox series, towards the end it kind of starts to suffer quite a bit.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
the first two seasons are kind of the epic we remember, and I think that's all you really need. 97 picks up and just it doesn't really take anything from those other. It just goes.
But it sure as hell doesn't let up.
yeah, it doesn't. It just-
it's really continuous. It's just getting your face bashed in.
it's just like yeah, it's like your dick's hard and just hard forever.
all right, I'll have to get
Yeah,
back
just
on that.
watch it, man. You
Yeah.
will not be
It
dissatisfied.
is fucking sick.
All right, there we go. All right, yeah, but no, I still love that show. Actually,
Yeah,
No,
it's
it's a good
great.
show.
I
It's a good
agree.
show.
nostalgia and how complex it is. It's such
If it
fun.
wasn't a good show, they wouldn't have made this series. Like
True.
it needed
Now,
to.
if
have-
only there was good X-Men video games.
Maybe
There is.
There might be. I mean, there is
Well,
some.
yeah, the Genesis one
Yeah.
was fine.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
Both of them.
That's about
Both
it.
of them were good.
Yeah,
I
that's
didn't
only
play the
on the
second
Genesis
one, but-
though.
X-Men,
Genesis, yeah.
Yeah.
Wolverine Origins. Also,
But
good.
that was Wolverine
oh,
origins.
but he's,
I'm
he's
talking
an X-Men.
X-Men.
He's an X-Man, and there's
I
X-Men in it.
understand. I
Okay,
understand.
okay.
All
X-Men
Here we
Legend.
go.
That's a good one.
To the
I like that one,
library.
too.
right. I guess you
Both
played
of
more
these,
X-Men games
both
than
of
I
these,
have. Yeah.
these games are fucking awesome.
I remember the
first one,
art
never
on
the
that
second.
one.
And even the
Those are the isometric ones, right?
yeah, like
Yeah, those were good. Yeah, you're right. All right. I apologize for making fun of X-Men games.
not X-Men.
My
on
memory
the,
goes back to the NES.
You mean the
X-Men game.
Nintendo Entertainment Center X-Men?
Yeah.
Isn't that by LJN?
Yeah, it's
Oh.
it was trash.
Yeah.
It was maybe better than Silver Surfer, but
Anyway.
You're
continue.
the
Ian,
for the
my couch
Nintendo
co-optional.
Entertainment Center.
My couch co-optional is going to be The Crow. Just kidding.
no.
Don't watch that. That's a mistake. No, I have two really quick. The Grand Tour. It's the final Grand Tour. One for the road is a 2 hour and 10-minute fucking epic.
Tour.
It's epic, and it is so funny, and it is so like.
Okay.
If you're into the Top Gear guys, and that if you like, I know Dave and I are close into that. I know you guys have seen some episodes, but maybe not as close as we are to that. But oh my god, it was emotional, really cool, awesome. And then on top of that, I got my 30th anniversary remaster of Oasis, Definitely Maybe album, and that album is fucking awesome.
Cool.
And I would recommend Oasis is getting back together, so listen to some Oasis.
We'll see
but-
how long that goes.
Exactly, it doesn't really matter. But this album is fucking. It's not the one with all the hits. Like, I mean, it has hits on it, obviously, but it's not like Wonderwall and
Right.
Champagne. It's the album before that with the actual hits, I think, that are better. And it's a really solid album. Anyway,
Don't Look Back in Anger, which is a weird song for them to sing.
that's also not on that album. That's on the.
I know it's
Oh.
not, but I'm just stating that two brothers who are always fighting
Oh.
and they're singing about "Don't Look Back in Anger." And also, by the way, if Rodney Dangerfield were alive, he could update his joke.
Jeez,
Mhm.
I don't even know the joke.
Oh, I went to a fight and an Oasis concert broke out.
Well, did you guys? I mean, it doesn't really matter, but like Jane's Addiction, you see their fight on stage. That's pretty.
I heard about it.
I haven't. I only heard about it.
Oh, there's video of it all over the place right now, and it's like,
No,
just
no.
just letting you know something about. It was like there was an Oasis joke in there, and I forget what it is now, but something like what you're gonna, what you're gonna be in for, or something like that. Anyway, all right, trivia, Jared. I know you've been waiting with bated breath.
It'll be quick. Either you know or you don't. So we're
doesn't have
not
to be
gonna.
quick.
We're not gonna. Yeah, we're not
Last
gonna
week-
ponder.
last week-
Well, it's a long list. It's a
Oh,
long list.
last
so,
week was
I only
great.
know Jared's trivia when I'm not on the show.
Last week was great. Like the Metal Gear thing, I really enjoyed that.
Yeah.
So
Well, this one it kind of fits in with the episode. Guess the Nintendo slogan.
guess the Nintendo slogan. Okay.
I'm just gonna go through all their consoles, and you're gonna guess.
Oh, this is
So,
for the
as-
actual consoles.
Yes.
Okay.
So, just as the intro, everybody knows this one. Now, you're playing with power.
That's the original Nintendo, right?
Then there's OG.
Yeah.
Power Glove, right?
No, OG Nintendo.
Just NES.
Oh, the Nintendo. Yeah.
We would like to play.
I'm gonna go with the Wii.
Nintendo. Super Nintendo.
The Wii.
Yes.
God damn it.
It's in there. It's in the fucking
Yeah.
tag.
I
Life.
never understand the logos.
Life
Advanced.
Advanced. Hold
Super,
on.
the Game Boy Advance.
Yes.
Oh, nice. See, you got it, Aaron. See, now he's on
Get
it.
in or get out.
Nintendo 64.
Yeah. Now you're playing with power. Portable power.
Super-
Oh, portable
Oh.
Game Boy.
Game Boy, yeah.
Touching is good.
What?
What?
Wait, what?
Touching
it?
is good.
Touching is good.
Saturday nights?
Touching
What
is
was
good.
that first console with the touch screen? Come on.
Oh, the Wii U?
No,
the Nintendo DS.
Oh, the
Yeah.
DS. Oh,
DS. Oh yeah, the DS. That's right. That's a pin pad
Had the
thing. That's right.
stylus. Yeah.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
had one of those. That's right.
Okay.
Now
DS
you're
I had.
playing with power.
Superpower.
Super Nintendo.
So, wow. Whoever's in this.
Yeah, I know. They're
Hey,
so
hey,
bad.
here we go,
How
here we go.
will-
You know, like
How
this.
will you play next?
Wii U.
Wii U.
Yeah. Switch and play.
Oh, okay. Never
Switch.
Mind. These
And
are
the
Game
final
Boy?
one, Born to Play.
Born to Play.
Nintendo Born
It-
Identity.
It looks like a child's toy. It's Born to Play.
The, the Game Boy
It
Pocket.
has a handle to carry it around, for fuck's
Oh, the
sake.
GameCube.
GameCube.
Yeah.
That does
And
not make sense.
there we go.
Born
I know,
to
it's
Play.
stupid.
That
Born
is-
to Play.
That one. I
Yeah,
get
Nintendo needs help.
They do.
They
The more
they
it's one.
do.
nothing but puns or whatever. It's just like
Terrible play on words.
Yeah. Yeah. So they need help in marketing. They do. So
That's some fun trivia. These last 2 weeks have been fire,
Yeah.
Jared. You're just
I'm
doing the
trying.
work.
I'm
Doing the work.
trying. Yeah.
Doing the work. All right. Well, everybody, this is a good episode. Fun episode. Glad we
Yeah, it
all
was
could-
fun. I'm glad
That's right.
glad you could all make it.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. I guess we'll get out of here.
Frizzy Hills.
Frizzy Hills. I hope Dave is
Yes.
rested up for next week when all of us decide to bail and he has to record an episode by himself.
There we go.
Yeah, right. Anyway,
Sorry, Dave, no challenges today.
no challenges.
More challenge.
I'm just
Here's a challenge. Show up next week.
show up.
Here's a challenge. Clean up the couch after I sleep on it.
Oh boy, jeez.
Oh boy.
Sorry again.
Let's not even go there. So everybody, we're the Couch Co-op Show. We want to remind you that you can, if you're listening to this, you've found us. But tell your friends about us, and that we're on all the other platforms: Spotify, iTunes, Audible. I don't even know who listens to podcasts on Audible, but you can.
Sweet.
And then we're obviously on YouTube, where you can watch us in all our glory, do our thing, do the thing that we do. For Couch Co-op, I want to thank Jared and Nick and Aaron for joining me here on the couch. I guess I kind of fucked that up.
Yeah.
For Couch Co-op, I'm Ian, reminding you to please be excellent to each other.
Wild stallions.
Yeah.
Couch Co-op is full of douchebags.